Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Town of Milton, February 11th Planning Board meeting. Mr. Frey, would you please lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I just have a couple of quick announcements. First, Miss Marin contacted us and said she was unable to attend tonight's evening, so she's out. And also, Mr. Whittle had indicated that he had a conflict as well. So we're down to 5 members, but that keeps us with a quorum. Also, with the resignation of Miss Padula, the town board has appointed Miss Brittany Yelenick to the planning board. Congratulations and welcome. So we now have a full complement again, but we does leave us with a vacancy for the alternate member. I know the board is accepting letters still. No? Yes, they're still accepting letters of interest. So if anybody knows of anybody who'd be interested as the alternate member, get them in ASAP, because I think they're looking to try to fill that also as soon as possible. So get them into Councilwoman Kerr or to Shannon Pine, if anybody knows of anybody else there. And also today, most of us were at the Saratoga County Planning Conference. The Planning Department did another bang-up job organizing this year's Planning and Zoning Conference, and that was great. So many of us were able to get our full credits of continuing education. I'll just remind everybody, if you weren't able to attend, we still have to get 4 continuing education credits. I know Amanda's got a list of some ongoing ones that you can do in person. Also, there's plenty online, so there's lots of opportunity to get that done. But just keep that in mind and try to get that out of the way as soon as we can. And then finally, on Thursday, there will be a meeting of the Land Use and Zoning Committee here at Town Hall. That's tomorrow evening. We're meeting at 6:30, and we're going to kind of be going through. We decided that the committee really had to sit down and scope out what is it we actually think we want to have changed or think we need to change based on the comprehensive plan before we go and try to task a consultant to help us do that work and whatnot. And we've got some input thus far on what a consultant scope of work might be. We'll do that and kind of catch up. But more importantly, I think as a committee, we've got to say, where do we think the zoning needs to be changed or adjusted? I mean, I know Sophia, myself, some others have put together a list of a whole bunch of administrative changes that have helped speed things up. We've got some other bigger things that over the years we've kind of looked at that said, oh, this would be nice if we changed this, or it'd be nice if we changed that, or geez, we've never dealt with this bigger question. But those got to all be compiled and then say, all right, now out of the planning process, what did we hear? And then give direction to whoever we get to help us as a means of both cost savings and better direction. So we're going to do that tomorrow night. And we also got to catch up on the solar and battery storage. We've gotten some input from Delaware Engineering on that, some kind of draft concepts. Learned a lot today on some of that. There were a couple sessions that really touched on that a little bit, but we've got to get that going. The moratorium is good through June. I'm not that deadline might have to be extended yet again because we just know there's a lot of moving parts on that right now. We learned quite a bit actually today, I think, on some of that. So, but definitely anybody's interested, come to the meeting. A lot of that material before any gets acted on is going to be coming before this board for our input and whatnot. So more on that as we go. Anybody else got anything to bring before the board? Just as general good for the board? If not, our first order of business is the review of the minutes from our January 14th meeting. I'll entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes for January 14th, 2026 meeting of the Milton Planning Board.
I'll make a motion.
Jim Marsicano, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Jim Frey, is there any discussion or changes to those minutes as proposed? There being none, please pull the board.
Mr. Marsicano,
Yes.
Danza,
While I was not here at the last meeting, I did review the minutes and I vote yes.
Mr. Fry,
Yes.
Miss Yelenik,
Yes.
Chairman Barto.
Yes. Okay, public comments. See if anybody wants to open the meeting to public comment. We do have both in-person and online public comments. Is there anybody online that seems to be waving their hand or anything? If not, I will open the meeting to public comment at 7:05 PM. Anybody want to address the board? If not, I will close the meeting at 7:05 and some odd seconds PM. So we will move on to our project this evening, which is the site plan for expansion of the facility at 885 Rock City Road. If you recall last month, well, first off, this project involves the modification of the storage facilities on the site to include 21 10 by 30 movable storage structures. And if you recall, we had some questions about what were the exact variances that were issued on this, what was some of the history behind the project in terms of a use variance that had been issued back in 2001, I believe, and then some questions about what parts of our zoning may or may not apply to that, as well as previous site plans that we had looked at and whatever. So our council and planner have looked at that and given us some opinions on that. I know Sophia updated her memo. I don't know if you want to quickly highlight any of those changes. Did you have anything in particular you want to raise to us?
You actually already reviewed and summarized the project history. That was the only section I added to my little staff memo here, and that was just to indicate the timeline and series of approvals between the zoning board and the planning board. As the chairman indicated, a use variance had been granted for this use on the site. It had two separate site plans approved for it, a couple of different variances approved for it, but what's before you now is proposed lawfully and with a variance that has been secured by the ZBA. And depending on the board's comfortability with that, I would suggest that the board might be able to establish lead agency, maybe classify the seeker action, and depending on your comfort, potentially taking it.
Okay. Mr. Bruning, do you have anything to add to that?
I don't.
Okay,
Thank you.
very much. Does the board have any questions or anything at this? Okay, so the only thing I have to this, I just want to put on the record, is that we did have and raised last month, and I want to make sure we make clear on the record today, that there is an additional use occurring on the site, a truck rental business that is not an approved use on the site at this point in time. It is active. They are renting vehicles, trucks out of there. And it's not an approved use at this point. So I'm going to convey that to the code enforcement. It's really a code enforcement issue. It's not us, but it's a separate use that has to be dealt with. It should be permitted. It's not a permitted use at the moment.
It's
So,
not permitted by the code.
and in the R2 zoning district, that use is not a permitted use. So it's up to the code enforcement now to deal with how they're going to enforce that. But we will point that out. We're not the enforcement entity. So at this point, we have a complete application. The record's there. There had been a use variance granted 24 years ago. So that applies to the whole site. So there is a use variance for a storage facility on the site. They have a valid area variance for the expansion that's before us this evening. So with that, I would entertain a motion to classify the application for a site plan for 21 10 by 30 movable storage structures as an unlisted action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act.
I'll make a motion.
Jim Marsicano, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Jim Frey, is there any discussion on that? No being no discussion, please pull the board.
Mr. Marsicano,
Yes.
Ms. Van Danza,
Yes.
Mr. Fry,
Yes.
Miss Yelenik,
Yes.
Chairman Barto.
Yes. Okay, next I will read the State Environmental Quality Review Act Short Form Part 2. The impact assessment, if anybody feels that my proposed answers need to be changed, let me know. There's 11 quick questions here. I'll go through them. Question 1, will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulation? I'm saying no. Will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of the use of land? I'm saying no, or the impact will be minor. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community? I'm saying no or minor. Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental character that caused the establishment of a critical environmental area? We don't have any critical environmental area, so I'm saying no. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or the existing infrastructure for mass transit, hiking, or walkway? I'm saying no. Question 6, will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? I'm saying no. Question 7, will the proposed action impact existing public or private water supplies, or B, public or private wastewater treatment facilities? I'm saying no. Question 8, will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources? I'm saying no. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources, for example, wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, air quality, flora, and fauna? I'm saying no. Question 10, will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for emissions, erosion, flooding, or damage problems? I'm saying no. And then question 11, will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health? And I'm saying no. Whoops. And the print form did not have my signature page on the back. So with that, oh, there it is. Anybody have any changes or questions on those 11 questions? If not, I am suggesting, having reviewed the application supporting documentation and read and answered the SEAF Part 2 questions regarding the project's impact assessment, we would find that there would be none or only minor or mitigated impacts. Therefore, I would entertain a motion to authorize the chair to sign the State Environmental Assessment Form Part 3, noting that the planning board has determined that the proposed action will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts, and the chair is authorized to sign and file the SEAF Part 3 as such.
I'll make the motion.
Thanks. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Marsicano, is there any discussion? There being none, please pull the board.
Mr. Marsicano?
Yes.
Ms. Van Denza?
Yes.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
Ms. Yelenik?
Yes.
Chairman Barto?
Yes. Okay, now a public hearing on this project for a site plan is optional, and the Zoning Board of Appeal has already conducted a hearing on the variance for this project with no public input. So I'm suggesting there's no reason to have a hearing. With that into consideration, is the board prepared to act on this project this evening? Okay. I would just want to go again on the record to say that what we are approving here is a site plan for 21 10 by 30 movable storage structures as depicted on the site plan, noting that this is the second area variance granted for this site. And while this use was granted use variance back in 2001, it remains a non-permitted use in the R2 zoning district of the town, and on its own is a use not encouraged in the town comprehensive plan for this district. The planning board is hesitant to see the use continue to be expanded, and that we would just kind of say this has kind of been built out pretty far at this point in time. So with that, I would propose that we consider a motion to approve that upon consideration of all the applicable criteria, the site plan dated December 2nd, 2025, that we approve the site plan subject only to the payment of all the outstanding escrow or associated any engineering costs or fees that might be with the application. You have a question? Well, wait, can we get a motion
Sure.
first on that?
Sure, I'll make the motion.
And then can we have a second?
I'll second.
Jim Fry. Now we'll have any discussion or questions.
What if they're not in compliance with their current use that they're not supposed to?
That is the truck rental, right?
Yeah.
Yes, so that is a separate issue.
So it's not,
We're not at all approving anything to do with that use.
I understand that part, but if they're not in compliance with that, like, does it affect?
No, it won't affect this. We're gonna have to depend on the code enforcement to go and deal with the non-complying use.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Don't like it, but I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Say it hasn't gone to court
If-
yet,
If
so to
there
speak.
had been a notice of violation issued, for example, and it was an ongoing outstanding violation, then you would have the right to defer if you wanted to.
Or put a condition.
Yeah, or condition it. But at the moment,
We don't
it's not, we don't even have
Okay.
that.
All
We
right.
don't have that. And there's nothing for us to hang our hat on right now,
I
other
understand.
than take a wet noodle and say, hey, get your
Had to ask,
use in
though.
order. No. And it's good to be on the record. We're pushing as far as we can on that.
Okay.
Any other discussion or anything before we?
The words about hesitant to see this use continue to be expanded, is that part of the condition? Is that a condition?
That's not a condition. That's just part of our record.
Okay.
They always have the right to come back.
Okay. All right.
We're just going to be on the record to say, you've gotten 2 area variances. You've got a very viable use here.
Mhm.
You know, they could have come and said what we want. I guess I would encourage you to look at the test for an area variance and see what you would draw a conclusion. But that's not our jurisdiction. That's the zoning board of appeals. So I think we're just kind of saying, you keep coming back and asking us for these site plans for continuative expansion of a use that otherwise is not consistent with the comprehensive plan and the zoning district it's in. Even though, great, it's got a 25-year-old use variance. It's there. Now, they could come get a zoning change, and become a legitimate use if they went to the town board. Well, they could do that for the trucks. They could do a whole bunch of things, but right now they're operating on this piecemeal.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? If not, please pull the board.
Mr. Marsicano,
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Fry,
Yes.
Ms. Hellenic,
Yes.
Chairman Bartow.
Yes. Is there any other business to be brought before the board this evening? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Jim Marsicano, second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay? We're adjourned.